Hello everyone, my name is Clay. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Round 1 recap and Round 2 preview of the 2019 NHL playoffs. Now before we get into the discussion of it all, I just wanted to kind of show you guys my bracket and how my picks are doing right now. I mean, I'm not really one to brag, but I kind of want to show you the type of Nostradamus that I am. So here you go. Take a look at this. Look at this beauty of... Wait a second. That's not right. No. Oh God! What's happening? No! Yeah, not great. Not great. 3 out of 8. Good if it was baseball. I got the Bruins over Maple Leafs. That was pretty obvious, though. Islanders over Penguins. I got that one. That's pretty good. Hurricanes over Capitals. Yeah. 3 out of 4 in the East. I mean, I did pretty well over there. And you got the Western Conference, which I know quite well, or should know quite well. And I got 0 right. So yeah, let's talk about the Western Conference. Calgary. Whoa, what happened, bud? What happened? You were supposed to do better. You had the best home jerseys in the playoffs, and you're supposed to show us more of those through later rounds. Yeah, Johnny Gaudreau, where were you? Mike Smith, we saw you. You were really the only one out there. McKinnon. Yeah, he took over in that series. Avalanche. 2 years ago, laughing stock of the league. Last year, made it in the playoffs, last game of the year. And now this year, they're moving on to the second round. 3 out of 4 teams moving on to the second round of the Western Conference from the Central Division. Some say they had a bad year this year. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Speaking of the Central Division, Winnipeg Jets. What happened, bud? You were supposed to beat the Blues. You were supposed to represent the West in the Cup final, at least in my bracket. Yeah, you ran into a pretty hot St. Louis team, didn't you? Couldn't quite replicate the magic you had last year. And yeah, St. Louis, great series for them. Holy cow. Last place in January in the league, and now moving on to the second round. All right. I still don't like you, St. Louis. I still don't like you. But I see you. Other Central Division matchup, Predators and Stars. Predators, what happened, bud? Your chance stopped working for you? Stars, I didn't really think you had it in you, but you played well, and you outplayed the Predators. Predators winning the Central Division. Didn't matter. Raise the banner. Doesn't matter. Stars, Blues, second round. That'll be a fun matchup. Moving back over to the Pacific, San Jose, Vegas. Vegas, what happened, buds? You were up 3-1 in the series. You were up 3-0 with 10 minutes to go in Game 7. And you lost. Now, I'll take some of the blame. Because last 2 times I've picked you in the playoffs, Stanley Cup final last year, first round this year, you've lost. So maybe it's really on me. Maybe you guys need to bribe me with some stuff so I don't pick you in the future. Just throwing that out there. But seriously, Game 7 of that series, that was all Vegas. Like, San Jose was playing at home, and they had no life. There was absolutely no life in the building. They had no hope through 50 minutes of that game. Down 3-0. Couldn't get anything going, or if they did, they just couldn't buy a goal. And then there's the cross-check. Pavelski kind of falls awkwardly. I don't think there was anything malicious about it. It was kind of an ordinary cross-check, but the way Pavelski fell and kind of like contacted Stastny on the way down, kind of twisted his body in a really dangerous position, which then led to him falling on his head, really weird and contorted with the rest of his body, and then a compression cut with his helmet knocked out. That sparked the fans. That sparked the team to rally around that moment. The lost captain. 5-minute major. I wouldn't have called it a 5-minute major. Like I said, it was pretty ordinary cross-check. Just kind of unfortunate in the results. Probably should have just been a 2-minute minor. But 5-minute major it is. And San Jose completes the greatest comeback I've seen in a long time. 4 goals during that 5-minute major. Like, Vegas can complain all about the call they want, but you don't give up 4 goals during a single power play. You just don't do that if you're going to win. So, goes into overtime, because of course that goes into overtime. Vegas ties it up late. And then San Jose wins it in overtime. That was nuts. Absolutely nuts game. What a way to cap off the first round there. But that was just the West. Let's head over to the East. Had a lot more success picking in the East. Islanders, you did me a solid. You flew under the radar this year. Didn't have Tavares. Kind of got kicked to the curb because of that. But you played really well. You rallied around your new coach, Barry Trotz, who definitely should get nomination for Coach of the Year. And you guys almost won the Metropolitan Division. Finished second. But as we saw in these playoffs, division winners didn't really do too well. So good job getting second in the division and then playing the Pittsburgh Penguins, who've won 2 out of the last 3 Stanley Cups. Yeah, you swept them. Heck of a job. Islanders moving on to the second round. And who's going to play the Islanders? That's right, the Carolina Hurricanes. Oh, take warning. The Storm Surge, just a bunch of jerks pulling it out. Game 7 on the road in Washington. Overtime. They knock out the defending Stanley Cup champions. Can't say enough about that. Hurricanes, it's good seeing them have success again. My bandwagon team lives on in these playoffs. They're on to the second round. Washington Capitals, their fans, now realizing that until you win a Stanley Cup, you have the mentality of, I would do anything to just win it once. And then once you win it, you kind of realize that it's such a huge high that once you come falling back down, like, you want to reach it again. Like, once isn't enough anymore. You need to get back there. It's a weird feeling that you really don't understand until you've won a cup or reached that height. Just take note, rest of the fan bases who haven't won a cup yet. Capitals fans, yeah, you understand now the feeling that fans like me have. Moving on, Boston Bruins, Toronto Maple Leafs, pretty much the easiest pick in this bracket. Boston Bruins Game 7, it was just meant to be. It was going to happen again, and it did. Toronto almost seemed like it was your year. At least that's what the media kept saying. Although I said that at the beginning of the year too. I kind of fell into that. I thought Toronto was maybe going to represent the East in the Stanley Cup. But then as the season went on, I changed it to, well, yeah, let's talk about it. Tampa Bay Lightning. What happened, bud? You were supposed to win the Stanley Cup this year. Your cap crunch and everything coming up. This was your year. You had a historic season. Ooh, not good. Not good. Getting swept in the first round. Yeah, not good. Not good. So let's look at the second round matchups now. You have Columbus Blue Jackets against the Boston Bruins. That's going to be probably a 6 or 7 game series. It's going to be interesting to see if the rest for the Blue Jackets is going to hinder them for this next round. It had huge momentum sweeping the Tampa Bay Lightning, but now that they've kind of had days of rest, it's kind of calmed down a bit. Boston coming off a big Game 7 victory over the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're kind of riding high right now. But Columbus isn't your typical 8 seed. They've got a quality roster, especially after the trade deadline. They can make a run. This is going to be a great series, this second round series. This is one to watch. This could very easily go 7 games. And, I mean, who doesn't love Game 7s in the playoffs? And then the other second round matchup in the Eastern Conference, Carolina Hurricanes, New York Islanders. NHL, NBC's, media's not too happy about this matchup. But another great matchup of 2 teams you probably didn't expect to see at this point, especially at the beginning of the year. So, I mean, this is going to be another fun matchup. Not your typical teams that you've seen in the past couple playoffs. These are 2 teams who are kind of just believing in themselves. They don't really have a whole lot of national support, but they're kind of overcoming it. They're the underdogs. This is the battle of underdogs. Who can underdog the most? That's the question. So in the East, I'm going to take Columbus and Islanders. Even though Carolina is my bandwagon team, I'm taking those 2 teams to move on to the conference final. Moving on to the Western Conference, you got the Stars against the Blues. Stars have found some defense to complement their high-powered scoring ability. And then you got the Blues, who are playing very, very well right now. It kind of got hot at the end of the season. That's how they made the playoffs. Now, at the beginning of the season, I said if they still had Coach Yo and they still had Jake Allen in net, they weren't really going to do anything if they made the playoffs. Well, they got rid of both those guys, and look where they are. They're in the second round, but I think that's where the road ends for them. I think the Stars move on. Ben Bishop, I think, is going to outplay Bennington. Bennington has played fantastic so far, but I think Bishop is going to be the difference in this series. Stars moving on to the conference final. At least that's my pick. Other Western matchup, you got the Sharks against the Avalanche. Woo! Sharks, emotional roller coaster, emotional high right now. There's not really a whole lot more you can say. They're a great team. And what happened in Game 7, that moment, that comeback, could be the turning point in their road to maybe a Stanley Cup. Like, this could define their playoffs right there. But for it to define their playoffs, they're going to have to get past a red-hot Nathan MacKinnon and Avalanche team. Now, the Avalanche team is pretty top-heavy, so if you do shut down their top line, you should be able to do well, and the Sharks should be able to do that. So, Avalanche, great job taking down Calgary. I don't see it taking down the Sharks. Sharks moving on to the conference final in my book. So those are my picks, Sharks and Stars in the West. And then you got the Islanders and the Blue Jackets in the East. I'd love to hear your guys' picks, so let me know down in the comment section below how your bracket is doing, what you foresee for the future of these playoffs. And thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate that as always, but most importantly, stay safe, make good decisions. Oh, playoff hockey is just the best. I'll see you guys next time.